Good morning, folks. I'm out here in my shop and I'm working on a project here, and I'm calling him Steampunk SpongeBob. He is an old clock that I have taken apart and reworked with, well, as you can see, there's a lot of different stuff that's on the table here, both tools and things to work with. Drawer full of stuff to work from, whether I take stuff apart from it or I take it apart to use it. And I got another drawer up here full of stuff. I got old lenses, I've got parts to a fishing reel, the top to a something or other. You can see I've got all kinds of weird parts and pieces in here, and what I'm doing is I'm making use of all these parts and pieces, and I'm using them to build whatever ends up being built. Steam Bob into a sort of beginning part here. Well, not really beginning, I'm kind of like midway. And I kind of wanted to show you what I did here. So I took a copper wire, had some sort of a grabber on it. I stripped it down and I used it for his belt here. I've also used a lot of the clock parts in moving. So as you can see, all these parts move and are integrated together inside the big circuit here, and it depends on which gear you turn in order to get him to spin. And then over here, this one spins here. His gear turns in there too. If you turn his nose, you can see the gear in there turning. And I've just attached his headpiece here, which is looks like a Cornhusker's mitt that had the leather parts torn off. It looked like a good end piece to the bracket point here. There's no other places to attach anything, so it's a good finish point for his hat here, which I have attached the back with just a simple screw. And I have another one here, an attachment point that I can also attach something else if I want to. I also have these here. These are hard attached with rivets, so I have to use those or change them out for something. I have other tubes here that somehow I might be able to fit in between there or around. See, I can take that apart right there and maybe attach something over the end of it and screw on a bolt or something, some sort of a hinge mechanism where it can hold it and it'll be able to turn. So that's what I'm going to have to do, work in here if I wanted to use this piece here. There are other things I can use. I got a bullet casing here, which gives me some sort of a fit over the end. I can cut the end off and use that as a sheath as a roller maybe. I don't know, those are things that I can think on if I wanted to use that piece. Here's some other stuff that I have here. I can take this apart and use the gauge separately or whatever if I wanted to use that piece. Here's something else here that looks kind of like a bow tie, I'm thinking, and you can see it's got some magnetic steel wool bristles in there that I can use those to accentuate it, make him a mustache or something, and make his nose up in here somewhere if I wanted to use that piece. Here's another one I was thinking of using for good old SpongeBob here. I was, if I wasn't going to use this for his hat, because this became a little bit more fitting. It was all the correct distances here, easy to attach. I was going to see if I could incorporate this and have sprays of copper wire coming out of here for like a little mohawk or something. Was something that I was planning on doing instead of his hat that ended up being here. So none of this artwork is actually planned. It's just pieces that I have that are probably going to be incorporated into whatever it is here. I've got here you can see a fork. Well, before I can incorporate the fork, I'm going to have to show you the other part that I've got here. Another nice thing that I've noticed is I have this bottom part to like a vase or an urn or something, but it's brass. And SpongeBob leans up on it pretty good right here, as you can see. So if I can find something like a little, maybe a table or something, maybe a piece of marble that I can put on here where he could sit using these pegs here, where he could sit on that. I could also make this a piece of walnut and attach some sort of something where he can slide onto it, you know, where there would be an attachment like here's a buckle. I could use that little bump right there. Okay, so if I could somehow attach that little bump, and it seems to work right there now. If I'm able to slide that on, looks like I might have to drill that out a little bit with a drill to be able to get that to slide on there. I would have to take off that piece there. I could wrap copper wire around that to where it would rotate back and forth for something on top of the table or the piece of marble here. Anyhow, you got a glimpse of my mind thinking. On the back here, because you can't really do a whole piece with just having it all one-sided. It's got to be full 3D. So what I'm doing here is I have these little copper cable attachment things, and I will be attaching like belt loops for his pants, which I have some copper. This was a part of another project I've got that I've cut out, and I could use probably that copper there for his britches that are underneath there, just to cover up all those points there, make it look a little bit more finished as opposed to not being finished. So you can see there's all kinds of things that I can do with this because it's got a nice curve to it. So what that means, and it's got some nice natural dimples in it. So I would want to use this for what it is. I don't want to mangle it or change it or anything. I want to be able to use this somehow with that domey mirrored appearance, so I could go over and shine it, make it all shiny. Maybe it'd be a reflector piece for something up here. I mean, who knows? That's if I wanted to use this piece. So there's a lot of decision making here that if you're starting an art project, and here's I gotta show you here's this guitar piece that I've got going on here. As you can see, I've got a pressure gauge here, and I have attached it to the back of the spoon here with a piece of copper wire that I just twisted over the end. And then I come across here with keeping the natural flow of everything. Everything has to have a flow, and at some point it's going to end, and that's where you go back to wherever you were before, where you had an end piece that you didn't finish off with an end piece. Because like this here is not an end piece. That means something has to be attached here or attach into here to be able to finish that off to another branch of something on the tree of problems that you're going to have when making a piece of art. So now that I've gotten to this point where I've got the wires all twisted around, I can come up to a point, and this is just a random length that I cut here. I just pulled it out and cut it right off of a bundle of wire that I got laying around here somewhere. So now I've gotten to the point where I can actually end it, because I can branch off or I can continue. It all depends on what I want it to look like. As you can see, it's all movable here, and when you press here, you can see the gauge going back and forth. So everything I want that I attach, I want to be workable by touch or feel or something. And this is a PSI gauge, so as he's strumming his guitars, to feel the PSI that's going to be attached probably somewhere on that little bolt right there. So this should be movable, although I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that other than somehow screwing something inside here to screw on top of this bolt here. So all I have now is this, which is not threaded. It is a solid point of pivot. So, and this is a threaded bolt here. So in order to finish this off, I need to decide what I want to do here. Whether I want to bend these wires into a loop or a coil like I did here with the end pieces to his strings. I can still do something with this gear here. It's a nice thing about gears. They can be either an integral piece or a part to end with as decoratively. Or you can continue on from there depending on what you're able to find that'll work in there. So this is part of how to create art, is to, you know, just let it continue to go, continue on, and eventually something will come across that will fit. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do here, is I'm trying to show people that you can create the most beautiful, magnificent things that will be around for thousands of years if you apply yourself and your knowledge, and you just let God speak to you as you're working it. You will be able to see where things go together, and you will be able to create something that is remarkable and will be something that not only your family can cherish, but the world can cherish, because it will be something that you made with your brains and your own power and understanding that comes to you with God's grace. Well, this is the Desert Artist. I'm out of here. I'm gonna post this, and then I'm gonna continue to work on this guy, because I'm feeling it. So I want to thank all you guys for watching and sharing and taking a look at my messy workshop that I've got here, that I've got going on. You see all kinds of copper tubing I've got up there, and